तू मिले दिल खिले. People still want to sing this song, you know. और जीने को क्या चाहिए. Success is not just about number of songs I've sung or the money I've made. Success is about my internal happiness. Himalayas. I was in the Himalayas just before coming to Dubai. South Indian food. Oh my God, I love South Indian food. Oh my God. Some of the books that made an impact on me. One was Don't Sweat the Small Stuff that I bought on my 25th birthday from Miami. And that made a lot of difference to me. Abhi tak, I haven't really learned the lyrics of the song, but you know, Doka Char is it's like a it's like a nasha hai wo. If I would like to do something besides music, then I'd like to pursue farming and agriculture.
Thank you so much, Sonu, for finding time for India Podcast viewers and listeners. It's a complete privilege to have you here. One, about the situation we are all in. I think you're in Dubai. So if I start from there, how are things around and how are you looking at things that have changed for everybody in the world now?
Well, first of all, hello, all of you over here. Good to be with you, Anku. This lockdown has been fine. In fact, I'm a person who's very okay with his own company, and I'm getting a lot of time to spend with my son, which was very important. So, considering he's growing up right now and he's entering into his teenagers in the next couple of weeks, he's going to be 13 now, and I'm glad that I got to spend so much time with him this time because I generally I travel a lot, but of course when I'm traveling, sometimes I get a chance to take him around. But because of his schools, it was very difficult for me to always have him around me. So I was technically traveling alone, and he was growing up. I think he had a different perception of me before this lockdown. That has changed now, and I'm very happy about this one fact that my equation with my son has become even better. It was always good, but as he's growing up, he needed this time with his father. So the best thing that has happened about the lockdown is me and my son.
How has Sonu become a good father? I mean, what is that you discovered in the new role that you've played? Like, it's quite emotional also on your part, for that matter, to come into that role and get that time and opportunity, even though things are not very, very positive, but yet find that space for yourself.
I have a woman inside me, so I always feel that I'm not just completely like a macho alpha man. I have a woman, an equal amount of woman inside me, and that woman has mamta. That woman has lad pyar. So I've always
Fertility
loved kids,
instinct.
even when I was a kid. Yeah, I have a lot of it. My sisters say that even though our mother has gone, Sonu is around. So they always say that I am also like their mother, both my sisters. So I have a lot of. I've been very close to my son. My son and me share an equation of equals, and not just because I'm being overtly, kind to him, generous to him. He deserves that respect. He's a very realized soul. He's a very good person. I can see that he's got saintly demeanor, and I would be very ignorant if I do not appreciate it and acknowledge that. My father is definitely my inspiration. My mother is definitely my inspiration because you see, we were from a very average middle class family. We were uh, mostly we had two rooms, but there were times when we were brought up. We all of us were living in just one room and kitchen. So you can understand the proximity, the connection, the bonding that we had as a family. हिंदी में कहते हैं जैसे जैसे घर बड़े होते रहते हैं वैसे वैसे रिश्ते पतले होते रहते हैं रिश्ते कमजोर होते रहते हैं now we have multiple homes now we have multiple rooms and everything but I miss the days when we were all living in small homes and we used to sleep together eat together practice music together study I'm studying my dad is doing music right on my head and none of us is getting disturbed somebody's watching the TV so we were doing all these things together so that way the it was a collective struggle. When I came to Bombay, it was a collective struggle. It was not my own struggle only. My whole family was into it. Me and my father came in 1991. He showed me various people's offices, and यहाँ ये रहते हैं, यहाँ इनका office है, तो उसका है. So I used to struggle myself. My father used to go back to Delhi to take care of my mother and my sisters, and I used to stay alone doing my own jhadu, pocha, kapde, riyaz, sab. So those were the days that brought. It was a collective struggle of the family, which we always rate. I don't grade it as my own achievement. My father and my mother, very hardworking people, ambitious people. They always wanted to do something, special. And my father is authority in music. He is such a great singer. My mother was also a singer, and she had a sharp mind as a musician also. So I got all of it together.
From there, very beautifully, you've said how your struggle was your family struggle. In your initial days when you entered the music industry, going to 90s, of course, ऐसी कौन सी दो bizarre चीजें हैं जो industry में you came as an outsider, right? For you, it might be a new world altogether, even though your family was quite there in that space. How strange, were there any strange moments ki you did not know and this industry brought to you?
When you come to Bombay and you see a different world, and you see people who are just so superficial and ruthless at times, and for people who have no background, who have no godfather over your head. uh, so the if you're sensitive and vulnerable, if you're not used to this kind of humiliation, it really hits you hard. But when it hits you hard, a sensible person can either break down or improve out of his improve or learn something out of it. I learned something out of it. I learned a lot out of it. And by the grace of God, uh, all those uh, all those times when I felt humiliated, when I felt dejected, because I was also too young. I was 18 years old. I didn't look like a singer. I was too thin to be a singer, and only when they heard my voice, they said, "अरे इतनी powerful आवाज है इसकी, इतने पतले से सुकुड़े बच्चे की." So it was a difficult struggle, because the image of a singer is always like, thoda sa mota, thoda sa, वाह वाह
Personality
वाह,
on the, yeah.
वाह वाह वाह, क्या बात है. I was not like the क्या बात है, मैं वो था ही नहीं. I was not like that. I was a normal boy. So it took me a little time to uh, you know make people understand that I have a personality of my own. I'm not the typical musician breed that you have seen.
Hypothetically, in 2020, agar you were to become Sonu Nigam and enter the music industry, do you think things would have been different for you? You would have had a different approach or a different way to come into the space and find your ground?
Well, I think there's a God, there's a universe that has its own plans. We can make assessments, we can say clever things, but I think one must just trust Almighty. If I were meant to succeed, I would have succeeded even now. The scenario is different, of course. Today, um, initially we would uh, depend upon the music composers to give us work, because they had the authority and they had the um qualification to choose a singer. You see, a good singer can be recognized and respected and appreciated by a person who understands music and singing and the totality of music. And music composers are supposed to be those people. So singers were selected or appreciated and spotted by music composers during those days. So we did that. We ran after music composers, and some were nice to us, some were not so nice to us. Today the scene has changed. Today it's about the music companies. Music companies spot people. Like even when I started off being in Bombay, one of the first people who recognized my talent was Sachin Pilgaonkar, Usha Khanna ji, Anu Malik, and then Kulshan Kumar ji. Kulshan Kumar ji was a company owner, so I started singing version songs, cover versions for him. But he was not able to give me a film song, you see, because he didn't have any films in his hand. T-Series was boycotted at that point. You don't see a single popular T-Series film song of mine until I became famous. When in 97 Sandesi Aata came and Pardes, Ye Dil Deewana came, 97 में दोनों गाने आए थे. Only after that, when Gulshan ji passed away, when T-Series started acquiring some films, that's when I started singing for films for T-Series. Otherwise, what was I singing for T-Series? Acha Sila Diya, copy. Ishq Mein Hum Tumhe Kya Bataya, copy. Rafi Saab version, copy. Everything that we were doing was cover versions. So to be able to sing for a film, you needed Anu Malik, you needed Nadeem Shravan, You needed Jatin Lalit. You needed Anand Milind. You needed Dilip Sen, Samir Sen. You needed Nikhil Vinay. So you needed A. Rahman. So that was the scenario at that point. So if I would have come today, I would have had to cling on to music companies, give them a share of my income.
How are you looking at yourself growing into different roles? Which is the most closer to you, and how did you evolve into it?
I'm a person who doesn't have uh, too many. I'm not a stuck-up person. I feel that from my childhood, like I never had we because I said we couldn't afford a lot of things at home. So besides a very simple harmonium that my father bought when I was born, I never had a single musical instrument. But I can play all percussions. I can play keyboards like crazy. I
Wow.
can manage flute. I can manage harmonica. I can manage a guitar. I can play drums, darbuka, djembe, tabla, dholak, dhafli, timbali. So I'm a kind of person who's open to learning. You see, so when I got the offer of hosting a new show, which was called Sargam at that point, Gajinder Singh came to me, and then there was some legal issue on the name, and then I gave the name Saregama. I said Sargam ka matlab hi hota hai Sargam, Saregama. So that's when the show became Saregama, and then I was instrumental in devising so many rounds of that show. We didn't have teleprompters back then, so the script was written by me and Rajinder Singh. Then I would remember everything, and then during the course of the show, all that I spoke was all natural, impromptu. It was not told to me like it is today.
Scripted.
People have teleprompters.
Yeah,
So
certainly.
I've discovered myself. I need, because I was good in studies. I was good in languages, English and Hindi and everything. So because I didn't have problem converting my thoughts into translating my thoughts into words, and especially because Hindi was also my is also my matrabhasha, and I used to read a lot. I still read, but not as much as I used to read as a child, because back then we didn't have YouTube and Google and all
Yeah,
those things for
certainly.
information. So all that we read were books. Tahir ji, one of a very good ustad from Delhi, he taught me the basics of music in 4 months. And then I learned music for a year and a half after doing Sandesh Se Aate Hain, after starting Saregama from Ghulam Mustafa Khan Sahab, Ustad Ghulam Mustafa Khan Sahab in
Yeah.
1996. But people say, "अरे हमको सीखने का मौका नहीं मिला." ऐसा नहीं होता. See, there are gurus floating around. Catch them, learn whatever you want to learn. So this is how I learned, and I would say that even though we had limited resources, I wanted to learn.
So coming from that limited resources and how you learn, today technology has made it much easier for everyone. You have a lot of information, so
Absolutely.
many reality shows. I think music has evolved differently. In a very brief manner, can you say how has music evolved for you? Has it taken a change? The change of evolution has been greater, like in leaps and bounds. It has grown slow and steady according to you. You've been part of it throughout, so you realize it better.
Anku, I feel it's your personal perspective. The thing is, I do not want to, draw boundaries around music. Music is what I think is music. People might not be listening to genres like ghazals and bhajans and semi-classical or classical. Or I listen to it. For me, what is being played on radio is a very small part of music that I appreciate, and I don't need to tell the world, listen to ghazals, let the world be the way they are. Those who are interested will listen to quality music. Those who are not will just be okay, will succumb to whatever's been given to them.
But do you think the music
you know
world has changed, like the way you guys compose and the music you wrote, the music, the tune behind? Because a lot of millennials love old songs and old music. We are remaking them. So is it like the old music genre were much better and we need to remake them?
these are two different questions. Music business has changed. Yes, it has changed. Music has changed. Yes, it has changed. It has to change. It should change. Why should anything remain the same? My hairstyle has been changing thrice a year. So why wouldn't the music change? So everything has to change. Change is the only constant. As now talk about the remixes done. That is a very clever modus operandi by the music makers. vis-a-vis music companies. Usually music companies, or should I say company, wants to do that because they feel that there is a recall value in those old songs, and we'll get more hits on social media and all. But I feel that anything overdone becomes a little shameless, looks appears a little shameless. You see that you can't do anything blatantly. It should be done. There is a very beautiful word in Urdu called tehzeeb,
Hmm.
tamiz. हर चीज के पीछे एक तमीज होनी चाहिए. There should be tamiz. Even if you are flouting some rules or if you're doing something, do it with a little lihaz. Lihaz zaruri hai.
Some
And
conduct
also,
around, right?
yeah, there should be some decorum. And another thing is, you see, just imagine the plight of the people who have made that song, who have sung that song, who have written that song. It must be similar to a mother watching her baby being taken away and being called somebody else's baby, and she can't do a thing. She's not even credited mostly in a lot of situations. Her own child has been taken away by somebody who says, now I own the child, so I'll get the copyright, I'll get the royalty and everything else. So in that sense, there has to be some balance. And
I mean, what
of
is the
course,
kind
I
of work
think
you would like to associate yourself with in today's time? Because your songs,
uh,
I mean, the ones we recall are the ones, the old ones more easily comes to our.
Indian music earlier used to be uh, non-dependent upon the promotion or the level of the film or the star cast. There were songs which were picturized on not so famous stars, but they still became extremely big, and they're still legendary. Like Tum Jo Mil Gaye Ho was picturized on Naveen Nishchal ji. He was a newcomer at that point. He was not Dilip Kumar. He was not Rajesh Khanna at that point, but he was a newcomer, a good-looking newcomer, somebody who was talented. But the song is still remembered for it was because of the capability and the potential of the song by itself. Today, like there's a song called Doka Char that has come out of just recently. It's a song that came out 2 weeks back, and it's like people are going crazy about the song. That's sung by me for a movie called Chaman Bahar, which is released on OTT on Netflix. Now, the song is so lovely. It's it's like one of my best ever songs, and it's come out. It's been loved. But you see, if that song was on for a movie which was which had
Big
a famous
stars
star
and big
cast
look,
and
yeah.
promoted on the radios and launched by, it would have reached some other level.
So you've been a person who's also been very frank and honest. I mean, that's your fearlessness, or that's the personality you own. One question I had before we go towards the closing part of it is, you have been vocal about a lot of issues. We don't, we know about it. We've been talking about it a lot of platform.
Yeah.
Is are you also wanting to provide a platform or create some way that the new talents who come in, they also find their right direction? Somebody must have led you in your journey. You might be leading few more. So is it going to be giving back to the society in that manner at any point?
Well, it's been 29 years in Bombay, and you must ask the people. There are a lot of people who say that Sonu Nigam was the one who brought us in the forefront. Like Sunidhi Chauhan would always tell you that he was the one who introduced me to Ram Gopal Verma and Sandeep Chauta. There are a lot of singers who would not even tell you that Sonu Nigam ने हमको ये किया, हमें ये किया. So the thing is, I should not be telling that. मैंने क्या किया, मैंने किसके लिए क्या किया. ये मैं नहीं कह सकता. कहना भी नहीं चाहिए. It's wrong. But I have been doing my duty for, there are a lot of people whom I have fought for. I have just the fact that I have taken up the cause for singers at the peak of my career,
Yes.
where to let go of everything just for the sake of singers, isn't that enough? Who does that? People don't really uh, do take such a huge risk.
इनफैक्ट लोग ये
Take
जानना
panga.
चाहते हैं ऐसा आप क्यों कर रहे हैं? I mean, is this, you know, why would somebody stake so much of reputation and everything? You've earned it all by yourself. But
The
I
thing
think
is
that's
reputation ka definition. What is the definition of reputation? Repute about the number of songs I've sung, or the difference I made in
or
my life.
the star image that you've created. You almost like
Yeah,
a star in the
yeah, but
world of Bollywood
that's
and
it's
music.
good. I know. The easy way out should have been to play safe and to let the disparities uh,
Yes, exist and
go
let it
on.
be. You getting
Yeah,
your
let it
work,
be.
you
That's the safe way
benefiting.
out. But I think probably even I have evolved as a human being. When I came to Bombay, I was an aggressive, ambitious guy with a lot of killer instinct. Only wanted to achieve, make money, and have the best in my life. As I grew older, something shifted inside me, and I felt that success is not just about number of songs I've sung or the money I've made. Success is about my internal happiness. And I felt that if I'm seeing something wrong happening in front of my eyes, I will raise the issue in public. And I have been really decent, and I've been really very, very well behaved in all my, you know, uh, campaigns. You could say all the things that we have taken up as collectively. I have never been nasty. I have never used brutal words. I have never been ruthless.
You
Uh,
just brought
but
the real
the other
people out,
side,
and
yeah, and but the others, people don't function like that. People become brutal, people become ruthless, and then you have to just show them, you know, their place, and then you have to draw a line somewhere that, do not take advantage of someone's gentleness and someone's good upbringing, perhaps. And that is what I probably sometimes do, but generally I don't feel like I'm a very considerate man when it comes to uh, even taking up a cause.
can certainly vouch about your being kind, because it was really pleasant talking to you also. But before
Thank
anything, we
you.
would like to invite one fan of yours. We have the small element. So we have one fan of yours who
Hmm.
wants to talk to you. So he's joining
Okay.
from Kolkata only. His name is Mrigank, and he wants to take up one question with you. So if we can see him on screen as well. Uh, yes, we can.
Hello, sir. I'm
Hi.
a big fan, sir.
Hi,
I have
Rogan.
just
Thank
one
you.
question for you. So movies in the 90s and the early 2000s were known for their
Hmm.
music. Like white
Hmm.
movies are just famous for their music, like Satya,
Yeah.
Pana. It's not the case
Hmm.
anymore. Why so, sir?
Um, to simply to answer this the most straightforward way, it is because today the people who know music, people who are authority in music, are not given uh, the right to decide what kind of music should be out. Because if you are given a template कि ये फिल्म आ रही है and एक सूफी दे दो, एक बैलेड दे दो,
Okay.
एक रॉक दे दो, एक बलम पिचकारी टाइप दे दो. So if you're given these four kind of options, otherwise give us one Jaguar or Lamborghini, or which is not wrong, I'm saying. But the thing is, earlier the songs were made according to the film situation. Today the songs are made to promote a film and again I reiterate, I'm not criticizing this practice. I'm just telling you the reason behind
Correct.
the fact that you don't get "Eh, udi, 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 sorry." So these kinds of cute songs don't come out. Talking about the same film, Satya Mehta mein gana tha. So
Correct.
these kind of cute songs don't come out anymore because those came from the imagination of the music composer.
You were
Today, the
allowed to
music
express
composer,
yourself.
yeah. So composer today is told to make what a song, a certain kind of song. Not every time, not always. I have to tell you, not always. But the songs that are promoted, that are brought to you, like for example, again say my song Do Ka Char. It's a different song,
Correct.
but has it been promoted? Will it be promoted? Not much. But yes, on the social media, definitely it's making a lot of waves. So, so such individualistic songs also come out, but perhaps you don't get to see them on the higher pedestal.
And so I want to add on to that, even the sad songs as well. Like Tarap Tarap still
Yeah,
has a special place in all of our hearts.
absolutely, absolutely. My son we were watching James Bond movie 2 days back. World is not enough. I think some of the movie also. Every day we keep watching movies, and he also said the same. He's into complete. He's an American music aficionado. He's into Western music, and he knows everything. Like I know everything about Hindi music, not everything, but yeah, my passion is about Hindi music and ghazals and everything that we brought up. Not that we haven't heard English music, but the knowledge that my son has is on a different level. Even he was saying, he calls me Chotu. He says, Chotu, they don't make songs like this anymore. When did this change? He just asked me this morning. He said, when did this change? I said, 90s it changed. Because I remember in the 90s when the hip hop came, that's when the English music scenario also changed. Earlier we used to have, songs like Careless Whispers or before that we had Frank Sinatra, we had singers who were singing, but after hip hop came there was rap and a lot of things. So my son was asking the same thing. I think the same thing has happened in India also. We have good singers, but the music sometimes is not as hummable as "Tu mile dil khile." People still want to sing that song. "Aur jeene ko kya chahiye." So if we had more songs like this today, then those songs would have stayed much longer.
Would we have them? One
Yeah.
small thing before we have to release you is a quick, rapid fire thing, just to know your personal taste for only favorite travel place in the world now.
Travel places, favorite
One of
place.
it, if you have to go somewhere traveling, I know the situation is not
Uh,
there, but
I was just telling my family 2 days back that I really really feel like going to Africa right now, because it's migration happening around this time. And about 5 years back, we were in Masai Mara around the same time. It was my son's birthday, then my birthday also. So that's the time when migration happens. This is the perfect time to go to South Africa or Nairobi, Kruger National Park in South Africa, or Nairobi, Masai Mara, or Serengeti Way. So we thought that probably I would have loved to go there right now. Otherwise, one of my most favorite places in the world is Himalayas. I was in the Himalayas just before coming to Dubai. We spent for like 10 days in Himalayas, me and my brothers. So that is one place, Himalayas, which
your,
gives me a lot of peace.
and your favorite cuisine, do you have a favorite pick on that?
I'm a foodie, so any honest foodie will never tell you a cuisine, because you are a foodie when you just can eat anything. So from paratha to Japanese to Italian to Punjabi food to South Indian food. Oh my God, I love South Indian food. Oh my God,
Really?
I love Bengali food. I love Rajasthani gatte ki sabzi. I love Chinese, of course. I love everything. I'm
Now
a
that you
foodie.
said you love to read, your favorite book, if you remember, now you don't read
Yeah,
often, but
yeah.
if given
Some of the books that made an impact on me. One was "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff" that I bought on my 25th birthday from Miami, and that made a lot of difference to me. Then another one was "Conversation with God." Another book was "Autobiography of a Yogi," which I never read fully, but I just got it once I read half. I knew the entire book, and I listened to a lot of Osho. So I don't read his books because I'd like to listen to him and his.
one favorite song that you would like to sing, or it's just on your mouth, like it might keep changing, but what is the latest one that you keep humming around in your house there?
Abhi tak, I haven't really learned the lyrics of the song, but Doka Char is like it's like a nasha hai wo. Once I hear that song, then I want to hear it again and again, again and again. After a long, and I don't feel like this for my songs. Honestly, I feel very embarrassed when someone plays my songs. But this song Doka Char is a song which I want to keep listening to again and again. And a lot of people who have been following me, who are like my friends and also my critics, they've also said the same thing. This song is just has got so much of repeat value.
And last question is, if Sonu was not a singer, what would he have been? How could you see yourself in this 30 years now?
Different things at different periods. Throughout my
Okay.
school times, I wanted to become a scientist. So I was always into science and science and science. I can still tell you the periodic table in my figure: hydrogen, helium, lithium, boron, the beryllium, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, ferrous. So I know the periodic table in my fingers. So
You're embarrassing us.
till I came to Bombay, till the 10th standard, I was into science. Then I thought, I would like to travel. So I thought I'll do the typical KAIS thing, sit in IS exams, come into Indian Foreign Services. Because my general knowledge was as students, we used to read a lot, Competition Success Review. That was our favorite book. So the GK was very uh, sharp during those days. Then I became a singer. But I think now I have a couple of farmhouses. So if I would like to do something besides music, then I'd like to pursue farming and agriculture.
That gives a very, I could sense a spiritual side of you developing or evolving through the conversation we had, with the kind of choices of books you had and the kind of evolution in yourself you saw, a changed personality from just being an ambitious guy who achieved it all, or maybe because you achieved it all at an early age, it quite made you come to a stage where you could know more on life
See,
on the other side.
uh, Anybody who says that, Anku, I'm very spiritual, is not spiritual. Okay. So when you say that I'm spiritual, you are anti-spiritual. That's like an anti-statement. I definitely understand one thing, that the real story is different from the story that we have been made to understand. I understand that there is a lot of uh, depth in the real existence of life, and I really enjoy listening to other people's perspective. I don't like to preach people. I like to understand what they're saying, and I find clues. Like if you're talking to me, whatever the words you use, I also find a connection. Is there a message that she's trying to tell me from the universe? So I treat my life with that humility and that surrender. I don't like to say that, oh my God, I have understood everything. And life is beautiful if you approach it from that perspective. And yes, I am not the same person. That Sonu died long time back. That Sonu who used to, mimic people a lot. I never did that with any malice, but I don't feel like doing that anymore. You see, I don't feel like, when we were younger, we used to be like any youngster, talking about movies. Oh, kitni bakwas film thi. Oh, kitna ganda gaya. Oh, kitni gandi acting ki. Now I feel that I should never do that. I will never do that, because I feel when I make fun of somebody, I make fun of the creation of my Almighty. So I have understood these little things, and that has made my life much more pleasant than it has ever been. So I lead a very simple and nice life.
I think you lead a very consciously aware, a conscious life. That's
Yeah.
how I understand it. A very aware soul who's quite aware of everything being said and you listen in. And before we close it, thank you so
Mm.
much for this time. It was really a different experience talking to you because I was,
Thank you.
it was a different experience than what I expected. I didn't expect such a calm Sonu talking.